wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
So I am here with John Park. I'm really excited to meet you. So tell
Thank
us,
you.
How many times have you been to the CAGOP conventions?
Oh boy, I don't know the exact count, but it's been a while.
They
happen twice a year. So
you've been doing this for a while.
for a little while, yes.
Okay, so explain the seat that you're running for.
So I'm running to be the California Republican Party vice chairman.
And so how long have you been with the California Republican Party?
So, I've been mostly involved at the local level in Orange County. So I was a member of the Central Committee, which is kind of the governing body of the county parties.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also on the EC. I was the first vice chairman of the party in Orange County for 4 years. And then eventually from that, I got elected to be the California Republican Party regional vice chairman in the South region. So that's who I am now. I'm the regional vice chairman. And now in this cycle, I'm running to be vice chairman of the entire party.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So you've been at it for a while. So what are some of the things that you want to focus on if you get elected in this seat?
Well, my day job, I always tell people, is that I'm a businessman. So I own the company now for 19 years in the tech field. So one of the biggest and foremost things I want to do is kind of revolutionize the way technology is implemented, if you will, into the California Republican Party. One of the things you always hear from everybody is that the Democrats are far better with tech than Republicans are.
Right, that is one of the myths we hear.
Right. So we're going to change that.
I love that.
And honestly, to a certain extent, they're actually right. And so we're going to change that. I mean, we're going to change that with the tech presence or the online presence at the county levels, the way we share resources. One of my ideas is to implement what I call a think tank, which will be a tech-based online platform where party leaders, activists, club leaders, or what have you from all over the state will be able to log in, and then they'll be able to share ideas and assets. If one county did something amazing and it worked, right?
It'll take on.
Yeah, and so, but what happens is it just kind of stays in that county. So what we want to do is take all of that, and they probably have developed collateral, training materials, the know-how, right? And whatever pitfalls they experience, they know now, right, for the next time. So what we want to do is take all those assets and give it to another county, maybe up north, maybe in Fresno, and say, hey guys, this is what we've done down south. It worked, and this is something you can implement. Here's the turnkey solution for you. So it'll be a very, we have 58 counties. And one thing you realize when you're running for this office is how big this state is.
Right.
And sadly, though, you also hear is that a lot of these counties are kind of feeling like they're in their own little island, which is where the party comes in. The state party needs to be able to connect all those islands and to make sure that we're all operating as a team and as one entity. And that's kind of what I'm focusing on.
Well said. With Elon Musk on board on the party, do you think that's going to help technology as well for the party?
Well, I don't know if that's going to help us here specifically in California, but hopefully, I think that right now where he's most contributing, if you will, is the whole Doge concept, right?
Right.
And I think that Reform California, I don't know if you know that group led by Carl DeMaio, and Assemblyman Carl DeMaio, and he wants to Doge California. Right, so I think that's going to be his next influence, if you will, direct influence in California for the moment. On the tech side, we'll see. We hope that he'll bring some of his resources and his technology expertise to California, and if he can help us here, that would be tremendous. But I'm not counting on it at the moment.
Where can we see the progress of this concept? Our viewers, where can we see that? Do you have like a website that we can see the progress, or social media?
Well, first I got to be elected.
I understand it's an idea right now.
Right, it's an idea right now.
But with your business that you do have, because you are in technology, I'm sure you're going to give us updates.
So I think that what we're going to be doing is, once I get elected, hopefully I get elected, what will happen is I will launch my platform as far as these are the specific quantifiable things I want to work on.
Okay.
And then I hope to be able to give the party, and I see your delegates, all the delegates regular updates. And one of the things that I want to do is have regular town halls and via Zoom, right? So we can take advantage of Zoom technology. And it'll be about something specific. Like if you've ever been on a Republican Zoom, typically how it goes is that you have a couple of speakers, right?
Right.
They're elected officials. You listen to them, do a couple of Q&As, and everybody says bye. Well, that's great, and those are needed. But my town halls will be about something specific. Like, for example, I might call a town hall once a month and say, well, this month, if you're interested in learning about email marketing and how to use that effectively for your county parties or your local clubs, you're going to join in for 30 minutes, and I'm going to give you a full lesson about how to implement it, what to implement it with, and what your messaging should be. And so if you want to chime, and then, by the way, by the end of the exercise, you're going to get a PowerPoint email to you so that you have the entire guide. So, you know, so I'm going to continuously provide these resources, right? It's easy to do. You know, I mean, Zoom, you know, it's not a big deal, right? So it's easy to do, and then they'll be able to, in a chat, ask questions. I'll answer probably 5 to 10 of them as time permits, and then whoever else asks additional questions, I'll follow up with them and address them later. So these are just kind of ideas that I have. I mean, communications is the mighty tool, right? Everybody talks about failure of organizations is, if you look at anything, it's always communications, right? So we start there, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on.
And as your company right now, that you're a technology company, where can we get more information on that?
So my company is called 8 Horses. Odd name, I know.
I'm sure there's a story there.
Yeah. People say, well, do you love horses? Do you only hire 8 employees? So no. So 8 Horses actually. Can I tell you guys have time for a quick
yes,
story?
We do.
Okay, so I'm married to a Chinese American woman, and I'm Korean American, and I always joke that she's about as Chinese American as I am. Okay? she's born here, you know, the whole shebang. So anyway, of course, I'm always dining with my in-laws, and then we'd go to these amazing, grand Chinese restaurants, right? And after visiting a number of these, I would always see paintings of horses on the walls. And then eventually I found out that there were always 8 horses in these paintings. So I finally asked my father-in-law, what's the deal with 8 horses everywhere? He's like, oh, that's just Chinese folklore. Business people add that because it means 8 horses brings good fortune to your business. And so at the time, I was looking for a company name. So I am like looking up the domain name online. And unfortunately, it was taken, so I had to actually buy it at not a great price from another person. But that's how my company was named. That's why we're called 8 Horses.
I love that.
Yeah, so we're a full service advertising and marketing agency. So this is what the stuff that I'm talking about.
The stuff that you're doing.
I'm
already.
doing every single day with clients from all over the world.
Do you feel you've had that good fortune come back to you?
I think so, and and my clients love the story because now they're counting on good fortune if they hire me. But so that's where the name comes from.
So who gets to vote for you?
You get to all the delegates get to vote.
And then when you get elected, when will you act as your official duties?
So it actually, literally, the election takes place Sunday morning, and we take over immediately. So that's a general session where the election takes place, and then basically that's when everybody kind of goes home, and then we have a board meeting that happens immediately afterwards with the new board. So we take over.
How many board members are there?
Well, that's a good question. I think that all together, because there are different committee heads, not just the elected officers, I'm going to say about 15 or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is really fascinating. I can't wait to see success.
But you think California party politics is fascinating? Okay, good.
I know that, and the 8 Horses, I think that's great that you already have that going. Has it helped you with your campaign at all, already having the resources and marketing?
I mean, I don't want to boast myself, but our stuff looks pretty good. So, because I'm one of the few candidates that has a full ad agency behind me. So.
And you guys service people all over California, not just in your area, actually. All over the world. So don't forget, keep in mind if you need some services, 8 Horses, everyone. Yeah. It was really great to meet you, John Park. I hope
it was very nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm here with Michael Maher. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you too.
Okay, so you've done so much since we've talked last. Can you give our viewers a little taste of what you've been through over the past 3 years?
Wow, yeah. I can't believe it's been 3 years, but boys have definitely gotten bigger. My wife is still supporting me running. I'm now running for Senate District 12.
We want to age her with all this running, all this stress.
I know. I feel like I've gotten wrinkles, put on some pounds, but it's been a really good time.
And then tell us about the last race.
So I just ran in 2024 for U.S. Congress against Congressman Costa. And it was such an exciting and close race for the limited amount of money that we actually even put into running, that the Speaker of the House, Speaker Mike Johnson, called me, congratulated, and I got a communication to come back for new member orientation. They thought that the polling and the trajectory should be post-election continuing to move Republican, and that was across the board. A lot of people were anticipating a victory. Unfortunately, as the days went on, it was one of the later races to be called in the entire nation.
Isn't that something? It's pretty interesting.
It's wild. And we ended up California losing 3 Republican seats in Congress in a state that completely didn't represent that. That went very, very strong for Republicans and for Donald Trump.
So what's the next plan now? Now what are you doing moving into 2025?
So moving into 25, it is campaigning, fundraising, and 26 election for state senate. And as a military veteran, as the only military veteran that would be in the state senate for the Republicans, it's a big, it's a blessing, and it's honestly to be able to carry that banner for the state that has the most military members and veterans of any state in the nation is substantial. And Senator Shannon Grove, who is the current senator who's terming out because California has term limits, was that veteran. She was the only veteran that was actually in the state senate that could represent the Republicans. And I'm taking that on. And then, of course, my background in nuclear energy and power, and then my law enforcement background as an FBI special agent are really here the issues that are facing us. My work against Maher Salvatrucha, MS-13, the cartels on the national security front, and then of course on the energy front, which California it needs actual energy, people who are actually going to fight for common sense in the state, and it's exciting.
That's very exciting. And so what have you think of like how you've been doing this for so long and how you've seen the shift of everything? I mean, like you said, the last race was really close. People are seeing like big changes with Republicans. And so what's the shift that you've seen the past 3 years?
Well, I think what I've seen is, and it's nationally, and people are writing about this shift in California. How does a district in 2020 that Donald Trump lost by 20%, when I ran, we almost win? How did that happen? How was that shift? And I'm running. I'm a conservative. I'm open as a Republican. I'm married. I got kids. I'm all of the traditional conservative Republican values I hold. How did I get so many Democrats and independents to vote for me? And the answer, because I asked this, why are you willing to switch? Because we believe that you're going to do what you're going to say you're going to do. We believe that you care for our families. We believe that you actually want to make our lives better. You understand us. You have kids in the same schools. And it was humbling to hear that, because that's all people want. It's not Republican or Democrat. They want to live their lives, be able to pay their bills, and enjoy the freedom of America. And that's so lacking across the entire country until we get a position where people say, we're voting, we're switching the parties, we're switching aisles to actually say, in the Spanish, ya estuvo suave. We've had enough.
Right.
And it's exciting to see the people standing up and crossing the lines to say, we want something better for our lives.
Why are you excited about running for this seat?
I'm excited about running for this seat because it's a Republican seat. So it's a seat that's going to be run and won by a Republican, unless we have a lot of Republicans getting in just because they want to do or get a title. There's a lot of ego in politics. Unfortunately, we have people who just won elections or maybe just were elected back into their position. They'll probably end up jumping into this race because they want the next rung. We have lifetime politicians on the Republican side, just like we do on the Democrat side.
Right.
And we can't have that anymore. And I'm excited as a military veteran, somebody who was medically retired, who's injured in duty, who was able to build a life here in the Valley, to be able to represent every branch and all of the service members, especially my parents who are in the district, who served in the military, and my grandparents who served in the military.
That's so cool.
It's
Generations
an honor.
of military.
It's really, really exciting. And then my wife's family in farming. I mean, it's something special. It encompasses my whole life. Kern County I lived in and was involved there. In Tulare County I lived and graduated high school. In Fresno County I currently live. It represents me, and it's exciting for me to be able to have this opportunity to get the endorsement. I just got the endorsement of Tulare County's Central Committee, the Republican Party, 2 days ago. I mean, I think you can see it. It's exciting.
And I love the diverse experience that you've had. Like you said, your background is one of the most impressive. I mean, I've interviewed a lot of people.
Yes,
so I was like, to me, it's a no-brainer. I really hope you win. And how do we support you? Is there a website so we can help fund your campaign?
Yes, and I'm always horrible on that. And then it's just my name, Michael Maher, and it is Maher for Senate, Maher.
Okay, you remembered it. You didn't do bad at that.
Yeah, maherforsenate.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's great to see you today.
It's good seeing you.
Ellen, so you are running for vice chair. Tell us about that.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Ellen Woitalla, and I am running for Central Valley Regional Vice Chair. And I'm seeking this position because of all of the volunteer work I've done over the last 6 years in the Valley, and I've worked with so many different central committees and different grassroots organizations. I thought it's time to step up and serve in a bigger way, and I thought serving in the party at the regional vice chair position would give me more opportunity to share my skills and to listen to more people and try to bring some unity to our party.
So what are some of those skills?
Well, I am a 31-year veteran classroom teacher, so some of my skills include being a really good listener, and I am a great networker. It's one of my gifts is being able to find like-minded people and get them connected together so that we can work on projects together, and I like to, so networking, getting people together, but also, oh gosh, I do a lot of stuff. I build teams. So I'm, right now I'm kind of thinking about like specific things, but I'm a team builder. I'm an organizer. So over the last 4 years, I have worked with hundreds of volunteers with the Recall Gavin 2020 movement that got on the ballot back in 2020.
Oh, that's not a lot of work or anything. That's easy, right?
So it's like I can look for like really specific things, but honestly, I'm a big picture gal. I took what I learned being a teacher from the classroom and said, how can I apply this out in the party, out in the conservative world? Because
sometimes you got to wrangle us together like students, huh? All your fellow conservatives.
I had 30 years of liberal education, and I just thought my insights just needed to express itself. So I was able to organize lots of volunteers. Actually, the Central Valley's goal was 120,000 signatures for the recall in 2020. We collected over 330,000 signatures. We made
Wow.
history. It was history.
That's very impressive.
The recall movement was actually the second largest grassroots movement in the world behind Brexit.
Wow.
So it was a huge organic movement.
Thank you. These are details I actually didn't know about that. Thank you.
Yeah, it was really fun because this was happening during the COVID time.
Right,
When
I
everything
remember
was
that.
shut down. And those of us who couldn't stand being like masked up and locked in all went out and just started collecting signatures. And so that's one of the skills that I have is organizing. And let's see here. I really do want to invite conservatives back to the party. So when we
Why do you think a lot of them have left the party? What's your take on that?
Oh man, leading up to this convention, I see we're not great at messaging. We bludgeon our voters. We send out so much information to them, but what we need to do is have a gentle hand. We need to not just walk their homes during election time, but we need to have events and go to their homes and invite them to Central Committee meetings. We need to have a softer touch. And I feel like if we're going to win, like especially with Trump in office right now, if we are going to win in 2026 to keep him on his America First agenda, we have to address all these voters that have lost their hope in our party. And do I feel like I've lost hope? I mean, I'm just so full of hope at this convention and running for this position. I look forward to the opportunity to serve. I've always wanted to serve. You know, I served as a classroom teacher. I've served in church committees. I've served as a volunteer for the Republican Women Federated.
It seems like you get a task and you go with it. You run with that.
I did. Actually, I was the 2022 Reagan Award winner for my Central Committee in Tulare County. And that's for just volunteer hours and organizing different campaigns. And so they recognized me in my own district just 2 years ago. And so, what do you do after you get recognized? You keep going. And so when I was invited or asked, like, hey, you have worked in all these counties from Stanislaus all the way down to Kern County, all the counties in between, all of the leaders of the Republican women, the Central Committees, all the church, the NRA, all these different groups know you. You're the perfect person for this position. We want you to run. And I have to admit, I've never run for any office, and this is within the party.
Because you're not a politician, really.
I'm not.
I can tell.
I'm a retired school teacher. But it was the teacher union that paid my way to my first convention 15 years ago.
I love that.
So
that's awesome.
Thanks to the teachers union training me to be an activist, I retired and have now become an activist for what I believe in. I didn't always want to do the activism for them because I didn't support what they were telling me to do.
Right.
But I said, when I'm free and I have a retirement that supports me to go and help our conservative cause, I'm in. Let's go. And so I'm taking all the skills I learned from the union and using it to help build our party, which has really suffered under the hands of the Democrat Party because they are very organized, but no more. We're organizing, and people like me running for this office will help the Central Valley get organized so that we can all have the same playbook. And that's something that I excel in. I excel in organizing and seeing what do we need to do, how can we make what we're, how do I say that? How can we standardize what we're going to do so that we can be a force that can't be reckoned with?
I love that. Thank you so much for sitting with us. I think you're the people's politician. The politician's not a politician.
I didn't want to sit here and do this, but honestly, I have so much passion in my heart for what I'm doing that I hope people will understand that and know that that's what they're voting for. They're going to get the passion that organizes and inspires people, and that's what we need, because you had said, well, what turns people off? A lot of people don't feel inspired anymore. They don't even feel connected. Well, what do? We get people who have skills of organizing and love. I love the Constitution. I love the Bible, and God has put on my heart to serve, and here I am.
I love it. Thank you so much. Hey, Ted, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Sparkle. How are you?
Good. Okay, so tell us what you're running for.
I am running for State Assembly in District 42, which is Ventura County, LA County. So it's Simi Valley to Malibu and parts of Camarillo all the way down to Beverly Hills. So Palisades, Malibu, Calabasas, all that's my district.
That's a
so.
huge area.
Yes, 500,000 people. So yeah, it's huge. But yeah.
How is it going over there? Especially, I see there's been like a lot of shift in political parties or in that interesting area where we might see more Republicans coming around. What have you noticed?
I've noticed a shift in the last couple election cycles, but because of the fires, what's going on now, and just now, Democrats are actually seeing all the disarray of our California legislature and their government. It's just out of control. And now that the Democrats, I mean, mostly Palisades is 70% Democrat. They've lost their houses, and they're actually outraged at the Democrats now because all this stuff could have been preventable. We could have done controlled burns. We didn't have any water. There's things that could have been done that the legislature hasn't done on purpose, their agenda to cut off California.
And nobody really knew that this was happening until it happened, until it's like a oh no moment.
Yeah,
and then that's when people started, like the masses, regular people started really realizing that. Huh?
Sure, but we've had a lot of fires here in California for a couple decades now. You had Paradise, and and we've been trying to get forest management for years to put it on because we clean the forest. There's no burn, but if you have needles and pine needles and leaves stacking up, it's just like tinder. So we have all these fires in California. They say it's climate change. It's not climate change. It's just mismanagement of our government.
Right, and even once it's there, it's there. It doesn't matter why it started. We need to put these fires out. So it'll not have water. It's kind of unacceptable, right?
Yeah, and we didn't have any water in the fire hydrants. Some of our lakes weren't filled. They were empty. So it was a complete breakdown of Gavin Newsom and the government here, our local government. So there is a big shift. We're registering more Republicans now in this state. I think we registered another 1 million Republicans in the last 4 years. So there's a big shift, and I think next couple elections, we need to get rid of the supermajority. In the state legislature, they have a 60 to 20 advantage. So they get to pass whatever they want without any Republican input. We don't have a say. Don't have a seat at the table, basically. So we need to flip 7 more seats in the legislature here to stop that supermajority. Once we do that, then we start to turn California red.
That's awesome. Yeah. I know that we have a huge water crisis in the Central Valley. I'm sure you know a lot of our farmers are there. I know you have farmers in that area as well. What do you hope to see change, especially if you get elected? What are you going to do for our water crisis that we've been facing for a long time that we shouldn't be having?
Yep, I've been fighting for water storage for the last 4 years. Because if you look, we passed a Prop 1 in 2014 to build a new reservoir. Well, the Democrats never built it. And since 1980, that was the last time we ever built another dam or reservoir. But we've increased our population by 16 million people.
Right.
So if you got more people, you need more water. They're doing it on purpose to shut down the Central Valley and the farmers. They don't want any farmland. It's being all sold to Bill Gates and the CCP. They're buying up all our farmland, and then we're importing all our fruits and vegetables from Canada and Mexico. So all the prices go up, and it's unnecessary. It's just an agenda thing that they want to do.
So what are the big things that you want to do if elected, besides water?
Well, being elected, I don't want to just be an assembly member. I mean, I want to undo a lot of the bad laws that we passed, but also I want to help other districts to get more Republicans in office, so we have a balanced government, so we at least have a say and not just being pushed aside. We can just do as we tell you to do, and we have no voice. So I would like to help other counties and other Republicans and show them how the blueprint to win, but also to undo a lot of bad policies and bad laws here in California. Lower taxes, make more affordability. You cannot build new housing without water. You have to have water. You won't get the permits and all that to build. So we need affordable housing for younger people, which we don't have. A lot of kids, they move out of the state because they can't afford to live here. So they have to go buy somewhere. They have to go to Tennessee, Idaho, Texas. So I want to do that, cut taxes. Our gas taxes are out of control. We pay the highest gas tax. We pay the highest sales tax. The most taxed items are alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana, which 18 to 40-year-olds, that's what they consume the most. So it's a big tax on our younger generations, too. There's a lot of things we could do to make California better. The state is amazing. The people are amazing. It's our government. That's not good.
And so how do you get along with everybody right now that's in that area, in your district?
Really well. I mean, I get along with everybody. I'll talk to Democrats, Independents, and I say this is not like a left or right issues. These are like human issues we have.
They really are.
I mean, the price of food and gas. These are all things that we have to deal with. And we should be taking care of the people, not worried about a Delta smell fish that's going to extinct anyways.
Exactly.
I mean, I understand preserving an environmentalist, but it's gone too far to a point that they just lock you up in court for 10 years and you can't do anything. You can't build. You can't, like Palisades right now is my district, and we have these horrendous fires, but they're not going to be able to rebuild. They're already blocking them right now. And it's going to take 5 years, 10 years for those people to rebuild, and it's not right.
So who has your seat now?
Jackie Irwin. She says she's a moderate, but she's not. She's absent most of the time when she votes, but she's terming out. She's been there for 12 years now, so I ran against her. She beat me in the last election, and but now it's an open seat, so I'm going to run. And I think there's a councilwoman I'm going to be running against, a Democrat. So we'll see what happens, and maybe somebody else will jump in the race too. We'll know. Find out.
Well, it looks like you're making some great changes. And
I'm
it's
trying.
Like, I lived in that area, so I feel for you having to do all those things.
I'm fighting for all Californians. I love it here. I don't want to have to move. I think a lot of us are staying here to fight. We want to believe, and we can turn the state golden. Like Trump said, he goes, can't have a golden era unless you have a golden state. So we're going to fight for California and just bring back common sense of values and principles back. That's all we want. We just don't want to go so far the direction of what we went with woke, and it's just too much. And I think people are actually pushing back, and just common sense. People are just realizing, that's not what I believe in. That's not really what I want to do. I want to protect our children. We want to get good education. We're like 40th in the nation. We're really bad, but we spend the most money per capita on children for our school system. So we have a broken system of everything. We got too much homelessness. We're number one. I think we have over 190 homeless people, and they're getting entitlements and benefits. We have illegal immigration that's destroying our health care, our Medi-Cal programs. So we have a big deficit, and we don't have enough money coming in. And you have to look at this too. Our state budget has tripled in 14 years.
Oh my
Why?
goodness.
Because all the entitlements that we can't afford, and all the money that's going overseas. It's like, we're done. Enough's enough, right?
How can we keep in touch with you, what you're doing, how your campaign's going, if someone wants to donate to your campaign?
They go to my website. It's Ted Nordblum. That's NORDBLUM.com. You can reach me there. And
are you good on the socials of updating, and if you're going to have any fundraisers and stuff that you keep on? So just so
TedNordblum.com. And you can find me on Instagram, and I'll just at Ted Nordblum. So
and then you'll update. Awesome. It was really great to meet you.
Nice meeting you too. Thank you.
So I am here today. Can you explain to our viewers who you are and how long you've been friends?
Well, I'm Shawn Steel, Republican National Committee man. It's a volunteer job, and I've been active in the Republican Party for some time, but not as effective as my good friend Denny Schnider.
Oh, I don't know about that. I've known Shawn for 25, 30 years at least, and we've actually worked together on many a project, and I've even run into Shawn in Israel.
Oh, wow. True. And so you're the board of directors.
Right.
And that's how long have you been doing that?
Well, longer than I care to remember, but no, I've been active since I've been in high school.
Wow.
And I started off with Ronald Reagan. I was state chairman of Youth for Reagan. So Reagan's been my hero, and we got a new hero. It's Donald Trump. And it's been exciting. And I get to meet a lot of interesting people from every kind of background from all 58 counties, particularly at a state convention.
What do you think of all the changes since then? I mean, you had Reagan, and then it kind of just...
Well, California used to be the Golden State.
Right.
And we have lost some 5 million people that left California permanently in the last, since 1995. 2/3 of them are Republicans. So even Democrats have left. The good news in that is that it's great for other states. They get more Republicans, so we get more red states out of it. And miraculously, in the last 6 years, Denny, you may not know this, Republican registration has increased from 4.7 million to 5.7 million in the last 6 years. So we've gained,
heard that, yeah.
So we've gained another million Republicans, which is kind of a miracle.
Right. And then so how are you
I wouldn't
involved?
even say it was a miracle. I'd just simply say it was hard work. Getting people to realize that there is a problem with this state.
People got tired of the BS.
And they should know what's going on and why. And I happen to be chair of the west side of LA.
Oh, wow. So you're really in the thick. I lived in LA, so I know.
I am fortunate or unfortunate enough to have the area where I have both Maxine Waters and Ted Lieu in my own district.
Oh, wow. So what do you think about this year's convention here in Sacramento? What have you noticed so far?
Oh, this is dynamite. The level of excitement in this place is outstanding. And what you hear more than just excitement is the plans to do things, and that's even better.
You think there's more hope than there's been in the last few years at this election? That's why it's more exciting because of Trump being president?
Oh, there's no question about that. He's doing the things he said he was going to do, and we need that badly.
Yeah, Donald Trump's changing the world for the better. He really is concerned about being a peacemaking president. That hasn't been the big concern for the last 20 years. President Trump is focused on an economy. He knows if middle class and lower income people aren't being successful, he will be unsuccessful. So he's dedicated to making sure that American high-paying jobs stay here and start growing here. That impacts everybody. And also look around, a lot of young people. There's young people all over the place, every diversity, every background you can imagine. And so these are exciting times. So it seems like we're getting on a wave that's beginning to get bigger and bigger. That's good.
It is exciting. Are you still a little bit worried about how much effect Trump can really have on California, though? I know I've talked to a lot of people, and this becomes a topic where it's like, how much change can we really see?
Well, no, actually, I'm not afraid of it. We are actually seeing in person the fact that our people are coming to the realization that the policies that we've been putting up with here have been a destruction of the state, and it's changing. People of every background are coming forward and saying, we need more of what Trump is giving us. So I can't believe I wear my Trump stuff around even now, and I still left all the Trump stuff on my car. And instead of in the past where we had Republican emblems on our cars where you were afraid they were going to be trashed.
Right. Yeah, very true.
I'm getting thumbs up and honking at me saying yes. So things are changing.
So you think California we're like wild teenagers that have to make a lot of bad decisions before everybody wakes up and like now we got to make some good decisions and change or else we're going to go in a destructive path?
Well, I think it's not just destructive stuff like that. I think it's more that in our LA area, people are realizing, because we have no elected officials in my area that are Republican, none. And all of a sudden we've had the wildfires, we've had all kinds of other problems where they keep seeing all the ineptness, and people are beginning to realize that those wildfires were a plague of proportion, godly proportion. I mean, that's the only way you can describe it.
We got to really see what was happening, what our government was doing.
When you find out that there was no water available in the reservoirs, that 1,000 of the hydrants weren't even functional, and the people, they'd also given away or leave in damaged condition many of the fire trucks even. So it's no wonder that we had a problem of this portion. And it's not the only one thing that's coming up. There are so many of these issues in LA that are coming up, one after the next, whether it be homelessness, expenses to live. I mean, it's going to be so much better under Trump. We're going to see a complete revolution in this state. And when this state goes, the whole country.
Right. I had heard, I don't know how true this rumor is, about when the fire trucks were coming in from other states, that there was regulations and they couldn't even come help us. All the other fire trucks that were trying to come help us, there was like some regulation problems with that, with their tires or with different things of them coming in and they couldn't come and help us. Is that true or is that just all farce?
I don't really know, but it wouldn't surprise me given everything else that we've done.
Well, so what do you think about this? You've seen all the changes too. I know you're in a different area than he is in, but what have you seen?
Well, the wildfires that went all over Southern California and Northern California were really virtually man-created. This is not something literally man-created, because now there's evidence that 20% of the fires in San Diego County are by so-called homeless. I call them outdoorsmen, people that choose to live outdoors, not being very careful in their habits of creating fires. So we've seen the quality of life in California deteriorate tremendously within the last 20 years. The crime, much more violent crime we're seeing that the group of people that choose to live outside in tents and public thoroughfares. It lowers the quality of life, safety of the people, safety of citizens, and we've seen the billions in LA County particularly have gone in so-called homelessness. It's all that's created. 80% of the money goes to bureaucrats. Very little of it helps people that are drug addicted, that are mentally ill. And so everything has been misdirected, and most people are getting it. Now, it was a Palisades fire in a semi-liberal area that a lot of Democrats said, what is going on? We have a giant reservoir above the fire area
Right there.
that was completely empty intentionally to repair it. It wasn't even broken. The point is that people are realizing that government is not merely a nuisance, it's a problem. And under the hands of the woke community, under the hands of hardcore leftists and socialists, government's not going to work very well. And that's why there's tremendous distrust of government in California.
What do you hope changes, especially with crime? Like I've had my car broken into 3 times in the past 5 years. I used to keep everything in there, practically live out there when I was younger, and everything was in the open. It was fine. Past 5 years, a lot of stuff. Now it's only a major crime if it's over 900 and something, and then if it's not, the people are just getting away with all of this theft. How is that going? What do you hope
that
changes?
is changing. We have had some changes to that.
Okay.
We do have a new district attorney in LA County, so that at least we don't have to put up with that as much. But there are still people in the highly expensive neighborhoods along the beach that are still waking up with homelessness, camping in their front yards, finding needles, finding all kinds of things. And we still don't always get the police out. And it's still that bad. There's millions and probably a couple $1 billion missing out of the funds that the city and county have collected to deal with the homeless. But it's even more than that, what we see here. There are so many other things. The city and state have dominated and said that we need to have 5 million new dwellings because of the shortfall of housing. And the way in which they've defined it is such that it's the Planners Full Employment Act. It has nothing to do with actually getting housing. And that's part of the problem that we face. And a perfect example of how we don't do things the right way. I live near LAX. It's one of the busiest airports. The main thoroughfare going to LAX is always busy. And I joke about the fact that I live in the only council district in the nation where it takes an hour to meet with your council member in the district.
At least.
And one of their fixes, and I use that sarcastically, is that they've created transit zones, which is included the way into LAX, and that's where they want to put all these homes, the big high-rises, where it's already so bumper to bumper that the gridlock stops you from getting across that road.
Wow.
Now, there's been but the extreme progressives are against transportation, automobiles, oil, gas. I bought a Tesla, by the way, and so I'm perfectly happy with that as well. But they make it hard to travel, and they make freeways under-constructed and not being really kept updated. And for the reason is they want people to be, they're building apartment buildings in Los Angeles County, downtown, without parking. They do that for a reason. They don't want tenants to have any more private independent transportation. They want you to use the subway. They want you to use the buses, which are dangerous and inconsistent and takes away your freedom and your independence. They've also prohibited expanding communities all over California. You can't build outside of the urban areas because you got all kinds of rigid environmental laws. We could have more communities, diverse, spread out, because I think suburban is the best lifestyle for most people most of the time. Not the urban areas, the suburban areas where they have their own businesses, single family homes, safe neighborhoods, dispersed. But the government of California stopped that in the last 30 years. Of course there's a housing shortage. You can't build anything most anywhere. So they're now trying to go in town and try to make the existing structures taller, bigger, more dense. That's not a good place to raise a family, and it's dangerous.
I'd go one step further even and tell you that one of the biggest problems when you have dense apartment complexes like this is you need to have open space. The national average is 4 acres per 1,000 people. The city of Los Angeles's goal is 3. The reality is just around 2 maybe. And in the area I live in, it's 0.7. And I live in one of those areas that Shawn was mentioning where we have a train, and I spent 4 years on the Train Leadership Council having brought it into my area.
Wow.
And as a reward, they've now designated my area as a transit area so that I can take my house down, put up an 8-unit building with no parking.
Wow.
And it's unbelievable how we're being attacked from every side. We have in LA the very interesting program called Mobility 2035. I've given it a different name though, it's Immobility 2035.
Right.
What they're doing is they're replacing lanes of highway consciously and putting in bike lanes. And when they put in these bike lanes, they have an objective to slow down traffic. Now that's all wonderful, and the rationale is that we want to do that so that we can save the lives of all of those bicycle riders, both of them, and pedestrians. The problem with all of their thoughts is that if you go to the AQMD site and you look at how much more of the pollution is created when you slow the cars down.
Right, exactly.
And then you go to another table where it tells you how many people are killed per numbers of tons, you find out that it's even worse. They're killing people.
As a lawyer, I know this for a fact. Pedestrian deaths and bicycle deaths, scooter deaths have skyrocketed. So on Wilshire Boulevard, they've dedicated a lane just for bicycles, and they took a lane of traffic. Now Wilshire Boulevard's been around for 100 years. It goes from downtown to the sea. It's a very important artery. Imagine the competition between bicyclists and car drivers when it's rush hour and it's slow and people are impatient, so they are literally killing bicyclists. And now those are in a sense, but the ones that get maimed for life, that can never walk again, that are infirm. So, and they know this. Statistically, scientifically, they know, well, that's just the cost of changing our society to get people out of cars. Ultimately, the extreme environmentalists want you out of a car and they want you walking. Okay, you can bicycle, but that's it, nothing else. And maybe take a mass transit from time to time. They basically, and it's easier, and there's a sinister value out of this. They like to control people. You have them out in the suburbs, they're cowboys and cowgirls. They're having independent lives. Right. They're going to where they want to go. You can't trace them, you can't control them. You have them downtown, you got a built-in voting block, you got a built-in control mechanism. Wow. Just like we saw in China, when there's a little problem with COVID in Shanghai, they simply, because it's densely populated, they simply get the fences out, put them around, let everybody die in that zone so nobody can leave it. That's not the kind of society we want. Sadly, the brain power of the left wants control, and they want to take out any kind of opposition, and this is the best way to do it.
I can tell you that I had a 26-year sentence on the neighborhood council in Los Angeles.
I love the way you put that.
Well, it's realistic. And I know that we met with the head of planning one year, and we asked the people from the Westwood people actually asked and said, how can you keep adding more buildings when you've already dedicated more traffic than we can possibly handle on the roads that we have? And it was so telling. The answer was, we don't care about you guys, we're only worried about the future. Yes, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
That was
it didn't
the answer.
then,
wow.
And it still doesn't make any sense. This is what we face on every single subject.
And what's going on with that rail?
Well, you know, it's really disappointing for me because I actually supported and support the idea of the rail.
Right.
Because I'm also chair of the roundtable, the LAX Community Noise Roundtable at LAX. And when you know the traffic that we have around the airport skies, it would be really good to have that train.
Right.
The problem is that it has gone up about 15 times the original estimate and is so expensive now it'll never be built.
Right.
It's kind of like what you have in Fresno. The train to nowhere, from nowhere to nowhere. And they sunk in billions of dollars already. I don't think there's even a 1 mile of it work. It'll never be built. And what it was is a great job for union cronies, some state bureaucrats, but it's one of the most wasteful major project government operations in American history. And thank you, Jerry Brown. Thank you, Governor Newsom, for just throwing the money and just burning it in a trash can.
Every time you turn around, there's something new. And the homelessness remains a big problem. And one of we thought out of the box. I happen to feel strongly that sometimes we need to help people, and that is why we're Republicans. We don't believe the government is the solution. We need to help people ourselves. So we came up with a solution for some of the homeless. We wanted to buy a cruise ship and put it into the harbor. It'll hold maybe 3,000 people. There's room for people to live, the workspaces, there's conference rooms, they can get all the care and help. They even can be paid to help take care of the cruise ship and get work experience so they can live on their own in the future.
This is great. I've never heard of this. This is awesome.
Now, we not only couldn't get any traction on this, we found out that there was a cruise ship that was actually being offered by, I think it was Carnival, to all of our jurisdictions. And they finally sent it to scrap because nobody would even answer them.
And the worst thing is that we talk about care and compassion. Even Governor Newsom mentions it once in a while. Right. You walk over people that are barely alive. Walk outside this building right now, 1 block that way, and you'll see people living on the sidewalk with some kind of a blanket over them. You don't know if they're alive or dead. That's not compassionate. And yet that's what the left does. They will fight day and night in court to keep those people rotting on the street, intimidating society, and they're either drug addicts or they're mentally infirmed, usually both. And that makes them dangerous at times. They can hurt and attack people, and they do quite often. If they really cared about them, they would give them asylum. They give them a place to live, a place that they'd be safe, the place that they would get care. But it's cruel and unusual to allow people that are mentally challenged to be on the street, to suffer and live that way. And it makes everybody suffer, and it makes their quality of life really challenged. That's why people are leaving the state, and that's why it's tough to live here.
We've actually given billions of dollars for the homeless. And what we have for it to show in the last 5 years is that we have a 30% increase.
Yeah.
And they're giving more money to the illegal people living here
and now Medi-Cal is bankrupt. Admittedly bankrupt by over $3 billion because they underestimated how much it would cost to cover the illegals. So now the citizens that live here, their Medicaid benefits are now being challenged and threatened, and now Newsom doesn't know what to do. So the programs that they engage in hurt poor people more than anything else. I gotta leave at this time. Forgive me, but please carry on with it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for talking to us, Shawn.
I love it. Carry on the work. You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. This was not something I planned for, but there are so many issues in our communities.
I love the cruise ship. I never heard about that. That's amazing.
We've come up with all kinds of ideas for fixing things. I remember we actually recommended a housing activity to allow homeless people to park in the parking lot of our police academy. It would be safe for them at night, at least. We couldn't get it taken care of through all of the bureaucracy, even though our council member was in favor of it and several other people spoke affirmatively.
Wow.
It's not that we don't like it. You can go into whole areas. Now, they are working on getting it reduced, but all people are doing are moving from one place to another.
Right.
And there's actually gangs now that rent out home to the homeless.
Wow. I've heard of this.
They rent to these little shacks, and if they don't pay, they burn up the shack and leave it for the city to remove them. I had the opportunity to work with one of my Kiwanis brothers who has a large church in central LA, and we actually got to feed the homeless. There's several times a week, people are invited in. They have set it up beautifully with showers and everything to help. And the people that I met, I was really pleased to meet. They just need some help. And it's the only way we're ever going to get there is if we start helping people. And this is not happening yet.
Well, thank you so much for all the work you do in your community. It must be really hard to be that outnumbered. You're the only Republican. It's amazing.
We are less than 14% in my area.
And you keep going, so I applaud you.
Well, it's not. I guess I'll go back to my dad who said, don't complain unless you're willing to do something about it. And I can tell you that we are willing to do something about it. And we are working with those people who want to work with us. And I always say, when the boat is sinking, everybody gets wet.
Right.
And so it's time now to get the other side, who I just watched Maxine, and she used to be even a friend of mine, but she's gone so far over the deep end where she's calling for attacking Republicans for saying what I'm just saying right now. And I used to work with even the Dems, and right now they don't want to deal with us. They're more interested in stopping President Trump from doing the right things than they are of actually solving any of the problems. And I guess our mayor is a perfect example of that. I worked with her for many years. I worked with all of these guys when they were in Congress and in large positions, because we didn't have any Republicans to work with. And I am concerned about the 1.2 million people who are affected by the noise of the airplanes coming around LA. And I got into that 30 years ago because my deceased wife watched two 747s almost collide on approach to LAX. One would have taken out the 405 freeway, and the other one of our neighborhoods, because a plane that size will take out a whole neighborhood. And I have been chair of the roundtable now for almost 19 years. And it's very frustrating when I can't resolve the issues. And so it's difficult to look people in the face when you say, hey, we've been only working on this for 19 years. And give us another 25 and we'll get there. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
And of course, living around the airports can also be dangerous health-wise. That's why I lost my wife. She ended up with cancer from being around the airport.
That's so sad. I'm sorry about that.
And she was one of the stronger people. But there are still opportunities for everybody to get involved, even if it's something very simple like Meals on Wheels or things of that nature, because there's always somebody who needs help. But if we actually give the help instead of create more and more programs, I think Milton Friedman said it best. We don't create programs because they're going to be effective. We create programs so that they can accomplish what we think or hope they would do, not what they will do.
Right.
And that subtlety is not lost on us. And of course, once you start a program, you can never stop it. And the same thing is with our schools. As everybody's aware, our schools in California have gone down, and there are so few kids that are actually reading and doing math at grade level. It's embarrassing. And I am so thankful to the president, who is now in the colleges and starting to revoke the visas for those that are anti-Semitic and creating all of the problems that we have with all these riots on the school campuses. I mean, every time you turn around, it's another whole issue.
Right.
I've only listed a few of them. I mean,
Right.
how many more can we do?
Where can we follow you, Denny, to see what's going on and some of the progress in Los Angeles? Do you have like a Facebook or?
Well, actually, my group is, my AD Assembly District is at the present time upgrading our website.
Okay.
And we do have presence on Facebook as well as X. And we do have meetings on X. I think it's every Thursday.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so
And
what's,
I will have to get back with you on the
that.
details.
We don't. Do we know the name?
But-
If we could like look up the group.
Well, 61st Assembly District would probably
Okay,
find
so
us.
we look up that 61st Assembly District. Okay. We will keep up the good work, Denny. Thank you for not getting discouraged with all the challenges you face.
Well, there's no way to be discouraged because you always know that you can. Look at it
There's
on
so
the
much to
positive
do.
side. There's so many things to do. We'll never be out of work.
That's for sure. Thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Thanks.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh, I must confess, dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.